And so the parents of the children that I was babysitting took me to my first ever swingers party. And I had my first swinger swap with the parents of the children that I was looking after. We had swingers parties, we have 140 people coming. I had some of the teachers from school coming along. And as I'm sharing my story with you today, I would love for the women to actually feel into their bodies and listen to what part of your body is resonating with my story. And for the men listening to my story is to acknowledge what I'm about to share with you, whether that's your wife, your partner, your future girlfriend, even daughters may have and will experience this in their life. And so just really take that into account. When we're coming into relationships, we don't always see what's inside, it's what's beyond. So as Jackie asked me to come onto the panel, she was like, oh, your story, can you share what or who or how changed your life? And that what, who or how is actually in the room with us today. Rob is my ex-husband. I was born in the UK, 18 years old, so I was applying for jobs online. I applied for a job in France. 18 years old, I went to France. First time away from home, I had new friends, there was a lot of partying. And one evening, I was with a male, and I've had a very unconsensual experience. I wanted to escape, and my body from the male wasn't allowing me to escape. I'm just being careful of the words I'm using in the space. And so I ran out of this home, I left my shoes and I just ran. 10 years went by and I told nobody about this experience. In a way, I forgot. I didn't just forget, I suppressed this experience that had happened to me. I suppressed the shame, the guilt for allowing this to happen because it was my fault. I shouldn't have allowed that to happen to me. 10 years went by and my ex-husband, reenacted this experience. But I was sleeping, he's woken me up thinking, oh, Katie would love some pleasure right now. And he's woken me up and my body just went into freeze mode because it was the same that I'd experienced 10 years prior. And this kind of started waking up the energy within my body again. And still again, I kind of forgot about it. So then I'll just go back a little bit. When I moved to France, I lived in France in 8 years. And I moved to Australia. I spent 5 years in Australia. I was a fitness coach, personal trainer. And I became a kindergarten teacher. Now, the kindergarten teachers are always the innocent ones. I was a kindergarten teacher and I was babysitting the children. And I got close with the parents. The parents have been together 15 years. And they were like, we've been together 15 years. Sometimes, you know, we like to swap, we have a bit of fun. Swing and swap, open relating. And I was curious. And so the parents of the children that I was babysitting took me to my first ever swingers party. And I had my first swinger swap with the parents of the children that I was looking after. In at this swingers party was where I met Rob. I knew who Rob was from social media. I'd kind of heard of him in the world. Rob wasn't just Rob. I was a kindergarten teacher. Because Rob was who he was, and I'm going to share this on behalf of Rob now, Rob at the time was one of Australia's biggest porn stars. And which and so I was the kindergarten teacher that married a porn star. My mum, I didn't really tell her. I told her he was a wedding photographer, and then she kind of found out from herself. But my uncle, who was 70 years old, opened the newspaper in the UK to the story. Kindergarten teacher marries a porn star. Hold on a minute, that's my niece. Called my mum, do you know your daughter's over the front page of the Daily Mail? And so I let go of any shame, anything I was holding on to, anything like I couldn't be me about, and the journey evolved. Because Rob was a porn star, I went through learning what it was. I guess I knew what it was doing, but I didn't at the time. I've gone through the whole journey of Rob was mirroring me, all my jealousies, all my insecurities. For example, I remember there was a blonde girl, and I just did not like this blonde girl, and I didn't know why, like I'd never met her. And when it actually came into it, one of my previous relationships, I was cheated on with a blonde girl, and that was just the mirror. So I had a constant year of reflections that Rob was bringing me to heal. So I've really picked a mirror in my life. I had a lot of these experiences, and then me being the kindergarten teacher, marrying a porn star, I fell into being a porn star as well. We were in the swingers world as well. We had our first threesome on camera, we had our first foursome on camera, and it was just so normal. This was when we were living back in Australia.
It's so normal. I know. So normal.
But now in my life, this is not normal, but at the time, it was just so normal. And that was in Australia. We had swingers parties, we have 140 people coming. I had some of the teachers from school coming along. And so through that space, I lost myself. I lost myself in who I was, how I showed up, because I just took on Rob's identity and it became this porn star, and gradually it just eated away at me. And then from that moment, we were living in a Playboy mansion, think Hugh Hefner, but that was really our life. And I just felt my body was I couldn't handle it anymore. I was kidding to myself, I was wearing a mask, so I really stepped away from that life, stepped away from our marriage, our lifestyle, and I went from the other side to the pendulum swing, and I just became so internal, and I went on my own healing journey. In that process, I sat with the medicine ayahuasca, and I was still in such deep love with Rob, and I really wanted this relationship, and I just thought, this is it, this is what's going to work. And as I'm sitting with the ayahuasca medicine, it was on this island, I was having Rob's baby. I was there in so much presence, there was a family, and it was just so beautiful. And at the time, because we were also in polyamorous swinging, I also had a big black boyfriend. And so in my vision of my ayahuasca journey, I'm having this baby with Rob, and my big black boyfriend just popped himself into my vision, and I just didn't want to look. I just did not want to look, and I intentionally went in for the medicine to ask the questions about our relationship. I'm like this, looking away, I was like, Katy, you've got to look. And as I came back, the whole vision and the family and the love and everything I had with Rob was literally just ripped out of my heart, and I knew this wasn't the path that we were to continue on. Through all that process, coming back to why I do what I do now, is I lost myself. I gave my body away. I didn't know how to say no. I was there to please a man. I felt so much tension. I was so contracted in my body, but I just thought it was normal. Until I went on my own journey, coming around to what I do now, is helping women step into their power, step into their own body, and not just put themselves into a situation because we're so uneducated about sex growing up. And coming through that, the lessons I had from Rob, I wouldn't be who I am without him coming into my life. So he was the biggest change, and a lot of breathwork and meditations and journeys, a lot of other things along the way, but I'm going to wrap it up there. So thank you so much for listening.